8 News at 6 starts now.
Thank you for being with us. Our top story, residents along the coast boarding up as Hurricane Earl approaches. The storm expected to brush past North Carolina's coast in just a matter of hours. Our team coverage begins with 8 News anchor AJ Legault. He is live in the Outer Banks. AJ?
Hi there, Christina. As you see, the surf really pounding here in the Outer Banks right now. We're getting reports of waves 15, 16, 17 feet high. And we're also hearing for the first time that they're actually getting some ocean wash over Route 12 here in the Outer Banks. They're getting water and sand, and the crews are already working to clear the road and make it passable.
The last-minute scramble is on.
We're boarding up the building because we're all glass front.
As the sun came up Wednesday in the Outer Banks, new warnings and evacuations are issued.
They've ordered an evacuation, which means start packing up, get ready to leave.
While some just board up or sandbag homes and businesses, then get out.
Get out of town, move north, and stay ahead of the hurricane here.
Others pause long enough to leave Hurricane Earl a message. Some are a taunt, others a prayer.
Hopefully it won't be too bad.
But with a storm as big and strong as Earl, there are a lot of concerns.
We're talking about a lot of logistics to deal with as far as the storm surge, the wind damage.
And emergency crews say, to make matters worse, some are ignoring the evacuation orders.
Even though they've asked all the visitors to leave, you guys are going to try to stay put?
We're going to try to, unless they make us leave.
As you see, there are still a few folks here on the beach tonight. Not that many, though. I can look up and down the beach, and I probably only see 15 people or so, and I can see probably a mile or two in each direction. As you see, the waves really picking up pretty good. And Jason, when can folks here really expect Hurricane Earl to pass by?
Well, it looks to be about 2 a.m. Friday morning. So in the next couple hours, it's definitely going to start getting even worse. In fact, you already have those tropical storm force winds that extend out from Hurricane Earl. That's about 35 miles per hour or greater. And those winds look to pick up as we get closer to about 2 a.m. when it will be just offshore of Cape Hatteras. Take a look at the wave heights, getting about 18 feet just offshore with that buoy measuring that just offshore of Cape Hatteras. That's going to cause some problems. Those large waves will be around through Friday. Dangerous rip currents also causing that storm surge. That will cause problems there on Highway 12. That main highway there runs along the Outer Banks. That will be sand covered tonight and into tomorrow. So that's going to take a little while to get that all cleared up. Again, it's a Category 3 hurricane. Winds of 115 miles per hour. Tropical storm force winds extend up into the Tidewater. Again, right offshore of the Outer Banks right around 2 a.m. And that's when they'll have those hurricane force winds. Juan?
Thanks, Jason. Well, Earl's led Amtrak to cancel some train service here in Virginia. Our team coverage continues now with 8 News reporter Kim Schumacher, who joins us live from the station on Staples Mill Road. Kim?
Yeah, Earl, definitely affecting travel here in Virginia. Today, out of caution, Amtrak began canceling service from D.C. all the way down to Newport News, and that will last through Saturday. It was planned passengers were called, but some passengers were still left in a lurch. Officials tell me the regional cancellations basically mean that no one is getting to Williamsburg, Newport News, Norfolk, or Virginia Beach because service is terminating in either Washington, D.C. or Richmond. Amtrak says today 3 routes are affected. That's impacting about 200 passengers, including Malik Alexander and his family. They're taking his sister to college at Hampton University.
We were planning on going down to Newport News, but due to the weather and the storm, we had to get dropped off here in Richmond.
Now Malik and his family are scrambling to figure out how they're going to get to Newport News, and it's already been a long day. They left Philly at 4 o'clock this morning.
It's going to cost more money now, and it's a lot of time wasted.
And as for his sister Danielle, she was counting on having time to move into her dorm, and now everything will be rushed.
They should have provided some sort of transportation because, I mean, I know it's not their fault that the weather, acts up and does what it wants to do, but they should have provided something.
Today, 3 routes affected. Tomorrow will be 6, and Saturday it will drop down to 2 routes being affected. Live in Henrico, Kim Schumacher, 8 News.
Thanks, Kim. We wanted to check also on arrivals and departures at Richmond International Airport for weather delays. And right now, it doesn't seem to be much of an impact. You see some red there on the departure board, but really, those are just minor delays. And on the arrival board, a little bit more red, but again, These delays are major, and none of them appear to be coming from the south, where the weather, you'd imagine, would be worse. Now, if you're rescheduling a flight because of Earl, some airlines are waiving your rebooking fee. Delta, United, JetBlue, and AirTran are among major carriers waiving those fees for travelers along the East Coast. And that would include a city like Richmond, states like North Carolina and Maine, and all the way up to Boston.
Juan, as Hurricane Earl makes its way up the coastline, Virginia's National Guard is mobilized, and the governor says the state is prepared to respond.
We are prepared for anything that might happen.
As Hurricane Earl moves up the East Coast and the waves get bigger in the Atlantic, the governor says the state is ready should Hurricane Earl's strong winds and heavy rain slam Virginia's coast.
I've been working with the team for 3 or 4 days now, monitoring the storm to the point we decided to declare a state of emergency, primarily because I need that lawfully in order to call up the National Guard.
And Virginia's National Guard is already mobilized. Here inside their Joint Operations Center in Sandston, soldiers are keeping a close eye on the storm and tracking its path. And Virginia National Guard soldiers and airmen have already moved into the Hampton Roads area.
We have activated about 200 soldiers to support the citizens of the coastline in case they're needed.
Those soldiers have rolled in with equipment.
Mostly equipment that can be driven in high water, some Humvees and large trucks.
And are ready to assist should Earl hammer Virginia's coast.
They can do wellness checks, they can do rescue operations, they can move people out of the area if they're needed. If there's debris in the road, we have some ability to clear the debris.
And another 200 National Guard soldiers are on standby should the storm hit hard.
Believe it or not, the storm's also meaning that Social Security checks will be delivered a little bit earlier than normal. The post office got a jump on sending those checks to recipients who live along the East Coast, including here in Virginia a few days ago. Most of those checks should have arrived by today.
And tomorrow morning, we will have the very latest on Earl's impact. We are starting coverage early at 4:30 a.m. on Good Morning Richmond. Now to continuing coverage of the statewide computer outage. All DMV services are back up and running tonight. 8 News reporter Laura Morris has the update.
The DMV is fully staffed today and awaiting long lines after a computer outage put driver's license transactions on hold for about a week. That statewide outage affected 26 different agencies and left the DMV systems as one of the last to be restored.
We have been unable to process driver's licenses and ID card transactions, originals, renewals, reissues, duplicates, etc. in our customer service centers. We've been unable to actually capture a photograph of the customer and save that data.
With over 1,800 Virginians estimated on renewing their license or getting a new one on a daily basis, long lines did pop up.
Now serving B114.
But DMV officials say they anticipated many more people, which is why they're heavily staffed, with customer centers bringing in full-time and part-time workers and allowing other DMV employees to volunteer, all ready to work now and through the Labor Day weekend.
We've estimated that about 12,000 folks have been unable to renew their driver's license or identification cards over this week-long computer outage. And so extending the hours, we hope, will help those folks get what they need.
Those extended hours mean some DMV locations will open on days they're normally closed. Not only that, but the DMV is extending the validity period on licenses and IDs that expired. For more information, visit our website, WRIC.com. In Richmond, Laura Morris, 8 News.
We also spoke with DMV customers today who tell us they were surprised there weren't long lines.
I was shocked. There were a lot of empty places there where there could be like 2/3 more of a crowd that's in there now would have seating.
The DMV plans to open some locations, including Richmond and Chesterfield, this Sunday and Labor Day to make up for lost time. In a statement, Governor McDonnell thanks DMV workers for giving up their holiday weekend, saying Virginia is lucky to have employees, quote, willing to go beyond the call of duty to get the job done. In other news, an update on last night's shooting in Caroline County. Investigators say both suspects are now in custody. Claudel Fells and Austin Morris face several charges, including an attempted murder charge for Fells, who is accused of shooting a woman during an argument. The victim had surgery last night and is expected to recover. Area religious leaders are speaking out today on the controversy surrounding the proposed Muslim community center near Ground Zero. 8 News reporter Catherine Hawley has more on this developing story.
Dozens of area interfaith leaders stood united today at the Islamic Center of Virginia. The groups are defending plans to build an Islamic cultural center just 2 blocks from Ground Zero.
The faith communities are essentially united in the establishment of a community center that will bring healing to the greater New York area and to the United States in general.
The $100 million project has turned into a hotly debated national topic.
Unfortunately, the debate around this community center has been plagued by fear, intolerance, and politics.
Remove from our minds and hearts any hatred.
Area faith leaders prayed together and called upon the public and local leaders for calm and understanding.
Reject all attempts to interject misinformation, fear, stereotyping of any kind into our communities. And we call on our leaders and our congregations to stop the demonization of our neighbors.
A call to uphold these great American values we have, freedom of religions, freedom of speech, and working together for the sake of this country.
Critics of the mosque say it's insensitive to build so close to the site of the September 11th attacks. Catherine Hawley, 8 News.
The latest Checkpoint Strike Force campaign is now in effect in Virginia to keep traffic deaths down over the Labor Day weekend. Officers will be out in full force looking for drunk drivers all over the state. Last year saw the fewest highway deaths and injuries in more than a decade, with 316 people killed. But there's still work to be done. Since July 1st this year, 4 Virginia state troopers have been hit by suspected drunk drivers, including one last night in Amelia County.
I will tell you that if you drink and drive, we will catch you. We will arrest you, and you will be prosecuted, and no one is above the consequences of drunk driving.
Last year, more than 31,000 Virginians were convicted of DUI. That's 1 every 17 minutes.
Chesterfield police tell us a woman was robbed at gunpoint as she sat inside her car outside a pharmacy here on Meadowdale Boulevard. Investigators tell us the victim and a witness were in that car around 11 p.m. when a man with a gun opened the car door, threatened the woman, and demanded money. She got away with cash, and he got away with cash, as it should say. She wasn't hurt. If you know anything that can help police, call Crime Solvers. Jason?
A lot of rain right now heading toward the Outer Banks. The heaviest amounts of those rain bands just about 20 miles offshore of the Outer Banks. That will continue to move through during the next hour and stay around through the evening and overnight hours. For us, we've had the clouds increasing out there. 84 currently for Richmond, 87 Ashland, 88 for Petersburg, 90 degrees out toward Farmville. Fastcast shows temperatures remain warm this evening, 80 at 8 p.m., 76 degrees at the midnight hour. Christina?
Thank you, Jason. More live pictures now from the North Carolina coast. Take a look at what it looks like in Atlantic Beach. Jason will have the very latest on where Earl is now. That's coming up. Remember, whenever you see breaking news or weather, send us a text, photo, or email to news@WRIC.com or call our hotline 330-8000. Stay with us.